Alright, hello and welcome to another Warframe Builds video. So, let's talk about Ivara. She actually does not have a proper builds video yet because I only ever did the review for her and never really thought about it. But let's talk about her now. Because she's very, very good and super useful. So, I have two builds for Ivara. The first is this. This is kind of like my just general build. I've been using Infiltrate because I like it. Makes me a little bit faster, but also I avoid traps and such, which is relatively useful. For those of you that don't like that mod, probably use Stretch instead. This will add just range to your main arrows on your one, and that's fine. I prefer Infiltrate. Stretch is maybe the better choice, but I think Infiltrate's more fun, so that's what I use here. And then on Configuration B, I have my Sleep Vara build. So, this is just for, like, you just put all the enemies to sleep with your sleep arrow. You pull out the Artemis bow and just fire a ton of sleep arrows and make everyone sleep forever. That's really useful in interception, where you don't need to kill the enemies, or really in any game type where nobody has to die and you can just complete the objective. So that's what this build is for. They're very, very similar, basically just focusing duration and range over strength majorly instead of as much duration. But yeah, this build, I'll show this off as well. We might as well do that one first. It's worth noting that generally with Ivara I use the Rakta because with its proc it can give you energy, which is good for starting up and keeping yourself in Prowl because it can give you energy while you're in Prowl. That will not be a big issue here though. So Ivara has her 4 arrows, cloak arrows, which is pretty useful. The range on this one is quite nice. Just 22 seconds of an area here that your teammates can sit in. Pretty good. Her dash wires. This allows her to kind of be wherever she wants. You can be invisible while you're on this, giving you freedom to pretty much be wherever you want to be to overwatch on an area. And you've got your navigator ability, which with this build is not very powerful, but allows you to use your projectile weapons and just control them manually, which is pretty good. Much more useful on the actual, like, main Artemis bow build. And speaking of Artemis bow, she also has Artemis bow. So Artemis bow is a fan of arrows, which is very useful. Holding it down will just make the arrows have a different fan halfway the regular. That's the general main fire of this weapon, but also you can alt fire, and you can very quickly fire your one, which is what you're going to want to do for your sleep arrows. So let's show that real quick. And just show putting the enemies to sleep, as it were. It's also worth noting that while the enemies are asleep, they are open to finishers, which is why I carry a dagger. Yeah, all of these enemies are now asleep. Sleep lasts for quite a good margin of time. Also, just getting the extra loot and prowl is pretty nice. You cannot melee while you have your Artemis bow out, so you'll have to put that away in order to use the finishers on them. Not a big deal. Yeah, you can very easily lock down an entire map without anyone being able to really go anywhere. And it's relatively simple once you get used to it to just lock down a interception map. Make it so that they are unable to hack the consoles. That's basically what this build is for, though. You can, of course, still use these sleep arrows with the main build for killing enemies, which is generally what you would be doing. Yeah, that's the sleep build. Then the main build. This just utilizes Artemis bow, and if you want a... My Rectus Ernos isn't format enough to get me to the point of, like, the maxed out build. However, if you want something to shoot for... My Soma Prime is pretty much at the place that I would want to go to with the Artemis bow. So I'll be using this for the test. Just good critical mods, Nice elemental combination. A basic critical build, I guess, for a weapon like this. And that's really all there is to it. Also, it's worth noting, I can show this. This Lux Prime is suppressed. So, if you go into your 3, the reason you use bows and such, if you use an unsilenced weapon and fire, you pop out of invisibility and you'll pop right back in. But popping out of invisibility is very, very bad, so you don't want that to happen. But I've silenced the Lux, so I can use it in this. Yeah. That's actually the only reason I'm not using the Soma regularly on this, I think, for damage output anyway, is because I would want to form the bow, which is already silent, to this same exact build. But yeah, let's just get this started. Because it is incredibly easy for Ivara, because she does very good damage with her bow. Very good damage. It's worth noting, though, for Argon Scope, you actually have to get the headshot with your center arrow, I think, in order to proc it. Which is a little bit of a weird restriction, but is not too ridiculous. Yeah, if your center arrow doesn't hit a head, it will not proc Argon Scope, I think. Which is very strange, but what can you do? Also, you do not gain any power by turning the bow. It's just a different fan for you to use. I think that's everybody, though. Yeah, that's Ivara. She's very, very good. Also, for you new players, the farm to get Ivara will also get you a lot of essential mods, so maybe go do that anyway.